Okay, so we are back for session 6, and there are a few things that I want to try. As I mentioned in the last session, I really love the Immolation Dagger, and so I spent one fate point to, create a quest, figure out where it is, and it's going to be, there's a factory owner called Antonio Coalfallow, and he has it. It's in his factory. It's in the smokestacks district. So I'm making my way over there. And this is going to be like a sort of heist mission. And so I'm outside of, I'm at this factory, and there are obstacles that I had already rolled. So the obstacles are, there's 3. 1 is a large group of weak enemies, 2 is a single or small group of weak enemies on patrol, and then 3 is a magical or mechanical obstacle or a non-violent attempt to hinder my progress. And so how that's going to be interpreted is that I'm going to do infiltration of the factory. I'm now at the factory floor. So there is a large group of weak enemies here. This is like it's a maze of iron and soot. The large group are maybe former workers. They aren't dead, but they aren't fully human anymore. They look to be flame husks. Looks like Antonio is turning his workers into flame husks. They're like charred figures. Their skin is like cracked charcoal, and they're animated. And I can see flames burning inside of them, and they're wandering aimlessly between all the furnaces inside of this factory. And they're weak individually, but dangerous in a swarm. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to sneak. I wish I had deft. I should get deft at some point. I used a couple points out of recording, skill points that I had to gain the deception skill, and then I got a new formula as well called Luring Glamour, which gives me Luring Glamour is a cool one. It gives me all day. When I make a roll with persuasion or deception, I can re-roll 1d10 and take the new result. But I do get a disadvantage on sneak, so I don't want to use that now because I'm going to use sneak. Let's see. I do have formula. I haven't used any of my formula yet. Okay, so how we navigate the floor without drawing the swarm of the flame husk people walking around. I'm gonna use sneak, and so the challenge die is going to be a d10. Okay, so that's a 6. And I'm gonna roll 2d10 on my end. And hopefully I get a 6 as I'm trying to sneak through and not be heard. Come on. Yes. Yes. 2 and an 8. Okay. The second is I'm going to make my way up to a catwalk that leads up to, closer to his offices. And it looks like there is a single enemy on patrol here. That's the other one I got. So this one is like it looks like a more evolved form of the flame husk. Those were kind of mindless. This one is the flame shell. It's a husk where the fire has fully consumed their mind and their body, and they're pacing the walkway, and they're like kind of like lava's like dripping off of them as they're not lava, but just like, it looks like magma is like following them. I could try. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm also going to try to sneak past this person. If it doesn't work, it might end in a fight. So that's a 7. I'm going to also use occult, and I'm just using occult to like mask myself a little bit. I'm trying to mask myself magically, not completely make myself invisible, but maybe like mask myself to look like I'm part of the walls and things like that. And so I'm not using luring glamour, just a little bit of magic, and it's not going to last for long, but hopefully it works. And sneak as well. So that is 3d10. Let's go. Okay, I rolled 1, 5, and a 7. So I got a success with a complication. I'm going to say the complication is that I kind of can't seize me, but they feel like a presence move by. This flame shell creature, and it emits this sound, and now all of the flame husks are on alert as well as I'm making my way deeper in. And they're probably now they're like on high alert, inspecting all areas. Okay, so they are in high alert now. So I'm moving past the other obstacle is like a magical or a mechanical obstacle. And I think there are maybe some wards around his office, right? It's not going to be so easy just to get in there. The door to the office isn't just locked. It's seared with some type of magical heat, and the handle glows this red color, and there's like an air that shimmers around it too. This magical ward is tied to, we'll say it's tied to the corruption called the Hungering Flame, of course. And I can't open it without either melting my skin, probably alerting even more husks in the building, but I do need to be quick. So I need to either somehow pick this lock while enduring the heat on my skin, or use occult knowledge, maybe disrupt the flow of magic fueling the ward, which makes the most sense. And I think that's what I'm going to do. The challenge die, I'm going to say, as part of the complication, is now a D12. And I'm going to use occult. And I have the knowledge, I have my academic and scientific research knowledge. So that's going to be helpful. And then I have my awakened scholar ability, which gives me 2 more D10. Okay, so that's 4 plus the base, so that's 5. But let's roll that D12, and we'll roll the D12. Oh no, I rolled an 11. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have 5d10. I could use harmonic disruption, spend a stamina to reduce the challenge die, but that's okay. But I think that's only for an opponent. I'm not sure, but I need a 10. I need a 10, or this is not looking good. This is 5d10. I need, I have fate points, but let's see. Oh my god. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I'm going to use 2 fate points to reroll 2 of them. And if that doesn't work, a fight was meant to happen. Or getting caught was meant to happen. So this is 2 more d10. I need a 10. Oh my god. Oh my god, an 8. Oh my god. But there's still a complication. I think someone saw me. I'm inside the office now. But one of them saw me. And they come charging at the door as soon as I shut it, and I can hear the pounding of the steps. So I need to be quick. So I'm searching. I'm going to search for this dagger and see where it's at. So I slammed that heavy iron door shut. I was able to get it open. I used fate points and all of my skills to magically get it to drop the ward for a second, unlock the door. Its heat washes all over my back as one of the flame shells saw me. Door shuts. And the flame shell, it's not just banging on the door, it is also trying to melt its way through. Outside, the factory whistle is shrieking, and I can hear the mindless wails of the flame husk as they're getting closer, and they're all starting to swarm the catwalks that lead up to the office. I have only a few moments. I do not have minutes. And I finally take a second to look around. This office is surprisingly opulent. It's really nice. I'm looking around, there's a dark wood and velvet desk. And sitting on a central pedestal, resting on a bed of black velvet. There it is. I see the Immolation Dagger. It looks exactly as the rumor described. This long dagger, charred blade curls, and it looks like a nest of twisting flames, and it glows faintly with its own heat. And the door's buckling. I'm trapped in this office. Of course, I'm going to grab the dagger. It is an artifact of corruption, so gotta be careful. I'm looking around the room. I'm trying to see if there's any place of escape, anywhere to escape. There's no windows. Okay, I'm looking for an air vent, a secret bookcase door, anything. As I'm entering into this room, I'm going to use investigation. I'm going to use occult as well to see if there's like anything magical that's hiding anything as well. So once again, the challenge die, this is pretty hard. It's going to be a D12 as I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, I rolled a 2. Okay, so I'm using investigation. I'm using cult. Okay, so that is 4d10. Wow, 1, 1, 2, 8. Also, I did roll a 10, so I do get 1 fate point back. Fate point is... Okay, so I rolled... Oof, that's a few complications. That's 1, 1, 2, 8. So I did roll multiple ones, so I experienced multiple complications or a single dire complication, which is either more serious or requires additional time to resolve before I can move forward. So I snatched Immolation from the pedestal. The moment my skin touches the hilt, though, I can feel why it's called Immolation. It feels hungry. First complication, the dagger sears my hand. It deals 1 damage. Let's just say that. My fortitude goes down to 6. It instantly ignites that velvet cloth and dries, and the dry papers on the desk. And now, the room is catching fire from the inside. But despite that pain, I'm still holding on to it because I did roll a success. So I'm looking around. I see there's like a heavy rug on the ground. I lift it up and I spot like a loose floorboard, and I can notice a latch, like a smuggler's drop or something, maintenance chute. But it's tight. It leads down to darkness, and I could still hear the banging from the flame shell. Just as I reach the latch, this is the other complication. The flame shell it starts to pour fire into the metal of the door, and the door like liquefies and explodes, and a blast of like shrapnel slams into the room. I'm thrown backward away from the secret hatch, and then the flame shell stumbles into the room, and it starts to step forward. It's like me, the hatch, and the flame shell creature. Ooh, okay, let's do this. This is the flame shell. The spark of the hungering flame lights in the chest of those who want too strongly and desire too deeply, who, like a fire wanting for fuel, want to gather, amass, and consume more and more without end. It burns away their memories, their hopes for the future, their dreams, and then finally erupts into a blaze that consumes their mind and body itself, leaving them a shambling husk, animated by a greedy flame bent on consuming even more. And that is the flame shell. So their challenge die is a D8. They have 4 fortitude. And their abilities, Blazing Aura. Whenever you make an attack against the Flame Husk with a melee weapon, suffer 1 fire damage. You can spend a defensive die to ignore damage. And they are immune to flame. So I can't use the Immolation Dagger. I'm gonna put it in my rucksack. That won't even work against them. So whenever the Flame Husk suffers fire damage, reduce it to 0. Okay, okay. So I have the dagger. I can see the exit right there in the floor, but there is a burning monster standing right nearby it. So we are definitely in it now. So let's go. This is conflict. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to look for an opening and then try to look for a method that I can still kind of deftly, even though I'm not skilled in deft, I'm still trying my best to move deftly and slip inside of the chute. That underground, like the hole is right there and it's standing right nearby it. I'm not trying to fight it, so I'm going to look for an opening. And as we saw, the challenge die is a D8. Just want to roll that. Oh, of course I roll an 8. Okay, so for me, I'm looking for, I can use investigation. So I have 3d10. I need to get an 8 or higher. Oh my god. I rolled 1, 1, 4. I have 8 fate points, but here, I'm trying to get out of here, so let's see. I can use melodic perfection. When you fail a roll, you can spend corruption die to reroll that same number of dice. I could use fate points as well. I'm going to spend 2 fate points. I'm going to re-roll 2 fate points and hopefully get an 8 or lower. If not, then that's a failure. Oh my god. I rolled 2d8s. That's not correct. I'm supposed to roll 2d10s. Oh my god, I rolled a 2 and an 8. Oh my god. I'm happy. This is just stressful. Oh my god, a 2 and an 8. Success. But I still rolled 2 1s, so... Okay. I found the opening, so I have advantage. If I go back here, gain advantage on the next roll, which is basically me trying to flee, I guess. So when you make a roll with deft, if you roll 2 successes, you escape, but if you roll 1 success, you must roll at least 1 success on the next turn. Okay, I see. But I do have advantage. So I have the base d10. I have advantage, so that's another d10. And then basically I only have 2 d10. Oh my god, I have to succeed on both of them. So I am examining the flame shell and its movements. It looks like it's like favoring its left side. And it's trying to lunge at me. Every time it does lunge, it leaves a gap low enough on the right where that hatch is. So I have an extra die, right? It rushes towards me. Because I did roll 2 1s, I'm going to say that I get too close to it as I'm going to try to flee and I lose 1 health. Again. The challenge die is a d8. Lower better. Lower the better. Come on. Okay. Challenge die is a 4. I only have 2 d10 because I'm not skilled in deft. And you always get 1 base d10, but I do have advantage from the last roll, so I only have 2 d10, and I need 4s or higher on both. Let's go. Oh my god, I rolled a 10 and a 1! So that's 1 success and 1 failure. So fate goes back up to 7, but I need 2 successes. So I need another success on my next combat. Let's see if this thing does anything. I'm not attacking it, and it's immune to flame, so I'm just trying to run away. I'm going to say, simply put, it's another damage for me. I think the flame shell, it opens its mouth and spits flames at me as I'm trying to dodge around it, and it hits my arm. I'm now at 4 fortitude, and that's for that round. That was round 2. Round 3 is me trying to run away again. I need another success. Okay, challenge die, D8. The lower the better. Okay, that's a 3. I'll take it. I don't have advantage this time. I have to roll with deft. So I'm not skilled in deft. So I can't get anything. I just have my 1 base d10. I just need a 3 or higher. No, I rolled another 1! Jesus. Wow. What can I do? What can I do? I'm not going to use Melodic Perfection. I'm just going to spend a fate point, go down to 6, and reroll. Okay, 3 or higher. Let's go. Okay, I rolled an 8. So I'm finally able to time my jump and slide perfectly. And I slide under the flame shell's legs and dive through the hatch before the floor is like starting to disintegrate as well. And I'm sliding down. And I slide down. It's this narrow, like metal tunnel. I come tumbling out into a pile of coal dust in a lower loading bay, scramble to my feet, start coughing up black dust. And the Immolation Dagger still on me. Alarms are still blaring. But the chaos is behind me now as I slip out of the loading bay doors into the smog of the smokestacks. You know what? This was fitting. That went about as well as I thought. But I do now have the Immolation Dagger. I'm now standing in an alley nearby, looking. I pull out the dagger. It's no longer burning me, but it initially did. I have 4 fortitude. I'm covered in soot. I do have the dagger. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dust myself off and get ready for that second quest. And it was the 10 Street Smiths. They've learned about that new salt sorcerer who's coming to work in the doll workshops of the upper city. They need someone who can impersonate him and enter the doll workshop and sabotage their operations. So that is what I'm going to do next. Okay. So as usual, we are going to navigate to that new location, and we're going to roll 3 times on the location complication table. First one, let's see. That's a D10. So that's a 2, a trap, or environmental hazard. That's an 8, a large group of weak enemies. And let's roll one more time. And that is a 1, so an environmental feature blocking your path. Now, this salt sorcerer is coming to work in the doll workshops of the upper city. So I need to get to the upper city anyway. So this quest means I can't even do the quest here in Lower Narain. So yeah, the lower city, it's all separated by that's like 120 feet cliff. They're higher, so getting there is like half the challenge. And so how that can play out narratively, so I have all my obstacles. The first one, okay, so my first obstacle is that trap. So let's say I'm getting to, there is a lift station. I'm trying to get there discreetly, of course. I'm taking a shortcut through 10th Street. And the Smiths here, kind of paranoid about spies and dolls, we'll say. And they've rigged a narrow alley with a trap. A scrap fall trap. So it's a suspended net. It has heavy iron scrap anvils hidden amidst like the hanging laundry lines. And so it's triggered by trapwire, hidden in the mud. And so, I mean, this is like meta knowledge, but to spot and bypass the trap, I can't. I don't want to get crushed, and alert them. So I need to do my best to spot it. So let's see. What can I use? I could definitely use, I think survival will help, and investigation. Okay, so let's do a D10 for this trap. That's the oh my god, I rolled a 10. Oh man, I'm not looking. Today is not. I did this to myself. I didn't even need to get the dagger, but I just wanted it, and now my fortitude is at 4, 6 fate points. And now I gotta finish this quest. Okay. I only have 3. I have 4 d10, and I need a d10 out of these 4. That's 1, 3, 4, and 4. Oh. Fate points are going by fast. Okay, I'm gonna use. Oh my god. I didn't want to use it, but I'm gonna use Melodic Perfection to re-roll that same number of d10s. You could spend corruption dice to re-roll that same number of d10s. And this is the Eternal Song. That's a power I get from the Eternal Song corruption that I'm attached to. I have 3 corruption with the Eternal Song. Wow. I wasn't supposed to re-roll 4. Actually, it's supposed to be 3. So I'm going to roll again. This is the 3. Oh my god, 6, 9, 10. 6, 9, and 10. So that is a success with a complication. I'm going to say the complication. I'm going to say because I used the corrupting power, it goes up to 4. I gain a corruption point with the Eternal Song. Okay, second obstacle. I'm able to spot and bypass the trap, but the second is there is a blockade. So, it's on the base of the cliff. There is the south lift gate. What's going on? The lift is locked down. So it's shut, the mechanism is locked. There's a sign that reads, maintenance in progress. There is a massive iron gate that blocks the lift car, and this mechanism looks like it requires a specific key, or it's like a complex series of lever pulls to override. So I do need to override this lift mechanism, or I can pick the lock. I definitely can't climb the 120-foot cliff. That is crazy. I'm going to use my tuning forks as a type of key to pick the lock and override the mechanism. So that's going to help. I have Artifice that can help. Well, let's roll the challenge die. Let's say it's a d10, and that's a 9. Wow, I've been rolling poorly. I like using lots of my resources to help. Okay. So challenge die is a 9. I'm going to use Artifice, and then I'm using the tuning forks. So that's 2 d10, and then I'm going to use my Awakened Scholar, which will give me 2 more d10. So I have 5 d10. But as I've seen before, they could all roll under a 9. I need a 9 or higher on any of them. Oh, I did roll a 10 before, so I do get 1 more fate point, goes up to 1. So fate points are now at 7. Okay, let's roll these 5 d10. Oh, yes. Okay, that's 5, 6, 7, 10, 10. So I'm able to override it. I get inside of the lift gate, and I'm going to try to get up to the top of the plateau. So I'm cresting the cliff. I'm rising higher and higher. I step off, and there is a checkpoint. It's staffed, of course, by a legion of dull soldiers. 10 of them standing in perfect, unblinking unison, and they have pikes. They're checking everyone entering the upper city for papers. Of course, I don't have papers, so I do need to convince them that I am this salt sorcerer that they were expecting. So I need to pass this checkpoint. Okay. Here we go. So I did roll 2 successes, so fate point goes up to 9. So I need to pass the checkpoint. That's the goal. I could sneak past, or I can use deception to impersonate the sorcerer. And you know what? Now that I have that new ability, the Luring Glamour, I believe Luring Glamour takes 2. It costs 2 resources, so resources will go down to 15. And it is a ritual. I'm going to say that I was performing it while I was on the lift and getting ready. So for the rest of the day, whenever I roll with persuasion or deception, I can choose to reroll 1d10 and take the new result. So I have that glamour on me. I'm going to use deception. So that is 2d10, and I'm going to roll the d10 challenge die to see what I need to beat. Okay. 4. I have 2d10 that I can use. Wait, this is a sorcerer, right? I'm not a sorcerer, but I am an awakened scholar. I would say I'm sort of a wizard, I guess. You know, not a sorcerer per se, but I do have, I don't know, I kind of have occult knowledge. I don't know if that would be helpful. But anyway, so I'm going to use persuasion and deception. I'm using both because I'm trying to persuade them that I am the right person, but I'm also deceiving them at the same time. I think both of those will work. Okay, so I only have 3d10. They just need to be 4 or higher. One of them is. Okay, 3, 8, 9. Nice. So I now need to make my way to the sorcerer's place of operation and sabotage it. So I'm going to one of the mini doll workshops in the upper city. So I'm officially in Upper Narain, but this is still connected to a quest from Lower Narain. So I'm going to finish this quest first and then officially start like a new game day in Upper Narain in the next session. You know, I'll start over. So I'm now standing in, we'll say, the Artificer's Corner. And I make my way over to a workshop. Looks to be like one of the most prestigious workshops in the city. So I, stride through the front doors. There's staff inside. They bow and they rush to prepare my workstation. And they lead me into this animation chamber. And I see like these lifeless porcelain dolls. They're all standing on pedestals. And they're all waiting. And there is a woman named Giselle Copperbrand. She's here. She's watching. And she's trying to see how I'll perform. So I am kind of being watched. I walk to the center of the room. I do need to figure out how to sabotage the operation while looking like I'm working. So how do I do this? I'm going to do a subtle form of sabotage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like I'm performing the regular ritual. I'm going to do it correctly, but I'm going to put a flaw in the system, kind of like the guy who created the Death Star, and he put a little flaw in the system. So they're going to work. The dolls are going to work perfectly for like a day or two. Then they'll start tweaking out. They'll go berserk in the middle of a gala, wherever. But they're going to start freaking out eventually. So I'm going to do that. So this is going to be the challenge die. It's going to be D10. Of course, I rolled a 10. Oh my gosh. I'm going to roll. I'm going to be using sneak and occult for sure, because I'm trying to do this without notice. And then I'm using my academic knowledge and scientific research knowledge as well to help build all this out. And then I'm going to use Awakened Scholar. So that is, I have 6d10, but I have been rolling like a bunch of d10 and not gotten any 10s. So let's see. I do need 10s. Come on. Yes. I got 110. Oh my god, that's all I needed. I rolled 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. So that is a success. I also did roll a 10, so the fate point goes up. Fate points go up to 10. And then I'm out of here as fast as possible. I am going to find an inn, somewhere to sleep. for the rest of the night. I'm officially in Upper Narain. I let Giselle know I must retrieve my tools from my lodgings. I walk out the front door and leave behind 10 ticking time bombs for their next aristocratic gala. Okay, so finish that quest. So you gain 1 skill point, and then I'm gonna roll a d6 for 2 for resources. So resources goes up to 17 for right now. Okay, time for the end of day maintenance. I find it in because it's the living expenses. Let's see, spend 1 resource for living expenses. So resources will go to 16 because of that, as I go to pay for a room. And then recover 2 fortitude. I can spend 1 resource to cover an additional 2. And so I will do that. So resources will go down to 15. As I'm like imagining that, like, narratively, I'm just paying for extra like medical care. And so I will fully recover all of my fortitude points. So I'm back up to 7. Okay, and then I recover all stamina. Stamina's at 5. I do need to roll for corruption. I did encounter corrupting powers in this session. So the Eternal Song I marked for because I used melodic perfection to make my way through a trap. And then the Hungering Flame kind of affected me today too, one time. So I handled the Immolation Dagger and then it burned me. So I'm going to make that corruption roll with the Eternal Song. It's currently at 4, so I'm going to roll a d6 plus 4, and that's the challenge number to beat. So that's 7. So I can roll 1d10 plus stamina, and I have 5. I could use all stamina for this roll, but I'm just going to roll. I'm going to roll 3. I'm just going to use 3 of them, and then I will use 2 for that Hungering Flame roll. So 1d10 plus 3. So I'll roll 4. 2, 3, 5, and 10. Nice. Okay. And that will give me another fate point. The Hungering Flame challenge is just a d6 because I don't have a current corruption with the power. It just burned me once, so of course I roll a 6. So I used 3 before, so I have 2 more that I can use from stamina. So I'll roll 3d10 and hopefully I get a 6 or higher on any of them. Nice. Okay, so that is 179. Okay, so there we go. Wow, that was quite a session. So we're going to end it there. And when we come back, we will be in a new location. And so we will start the core gameplay loop once again in Upper Narain officially. So thanks for listening in, everybody, and we'll see you in the next session.